old cartoons I did and didn't fuck with. Let's go. Ren and Stimpy made me so deeply uncomfortable. A lot of these shows I feel like only came on late at night and haunted me. Ren has a particularly crackhead thing about him that like even looking at him gives me anxiety. Tell me what you feel when you look at this. And I know none of the feelings are calm. It like makes me feel like I'm going despite not being a big fan of the show. I did have the Game Boy game and I played it a lot, and they were in space in the game. I don't know if they were on the show. Aqua Team Hunger Force, another like late night Adult Swim. Anything that played on Adult Swim makes me think of my dad like passing out after drinking a bunch of beers in the living room, and me like watching this stuff that he had playing, and my mom definitely being asleep and like not knowing that I was watching these things and probably not being happy with it for good reason. I actually don't think this one was very inappropriate. In fact, this one is probably one of the more comforting ones compared to all the disturbing other ones I'm going to show you. However, it did make me feel a little dirty and like I was like smoking with the bros, and I think I wasn't very fond of their living situation because it kind of reminded me of my own home, and that, you know, I was very uncomfortable in like that little chip on the you know, board right there. Also, the meatball actually don't piss me off because the meatball actually grossed me the fuck out. Big fan of Hi Hi Puffy I'm Yumi show. No notes. I watched Johnny Bravo a lot, didn't really like it. I felt that he was very pompous, despite the fact that for some reason he does remind me of my current day best friend Kenzie. And I'm sorry, Kenzie, like I don't know what it is about him. Maybe because he's like so pizzazz. Like I don't like this, and this also reminds me of that like Panera Cafe aesthetic that also makes me uncomfortable. I think everything from my childhood makes me uncomfortable because I just wasn't very comfortable in my childhood, period. But it's giving like Global Village aesthetic. And this makes me feel very dreamy. Like in some ways it's comforting, but in other ways it makes me feel very lucid in a way where I feel like I'm thinking back to a dream and not real life. I really loved Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends. It was very comforting, and I think I like for some reason wanted to be a foster child or have a really big family, probably both, and like this made me escape to that fantasy for a little bit. The theme song was just so comforting too. Like, talk about magic. No, I don't like it. I don't like the part where the music speeds up. It wasn't good for my nervous system regulation when I was younger. Honestly, I was just more of like a Nickelodeon Disney kid to begin with. I know that that was channel 56 and 58 using a charter, but sometimes I would like watch this if nothing else was on. However, the way that their hats and their hair cover their eyes, for some reason that was visually confusing to me, and I don't think I realized that like those were their faces for some reason. And that reminds me of the fact that when I would play Bowser on Mario Kart, which yes, I literally had to look up Bowser from behind, I didn't realize that like his shell was a shell for some reason. Like I thought that the shell was like a helmet because when you're playing the game, like you see the back of them, not the front of them, and his big backed body was bent over so you would only see the shell. So from behind, I always thought I was playing like sort of like a Toad-like character that was very, very small, and this was his big ass head, and that was like a helmet. I never like, it really took me so long to realize that was his shell. I digress. Big fat fucking no. And I feel like I watched it a lot. I feel like it was on a lot. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't this like a 5-minute show on Nickelodeon, like a little bit of buffers? Or maybe it was, no, it wasn't Disney. This shit would never air on Disney. I think it was Nickelodeon. Just gross, just grotesque, just disgusting. Why is everyone so raw looking? This looks like 2 pieces of raw chicken. One is a breast and one is a tenderloin. We know which one is which. Also feel like this was on my motherfucking TV a lot, and what is it with everything on gross late night Nickelodeon as well as Cartoon Network? Like the characters were so sharp and crunchy and like looked like they could cut you. I wasn't a fan of the vibe of any of these characters either. I guess the middle one was like kind of cool, but it was like a fucking, no, I didn't like it actually. Are they all cats? Right? I don't know why I maybe didn't realize that. I just think I was confused when I was younger and like really mixing up a lot of things in my head. Loved, obviously, was always so comforting because this would come on after Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Courage the Cowardly Dog used to scare me so bad that I couldn't move. So the order of shows that me and my family would watch was WWE for my brother, and then I would stay in my parents' room on their bed alone with the door shut, which was already kind of scary with the lights off, and I would watch while they were in the living room Courage the Cowardly Dog and literally face fear in the eye. And then when it would be over, I literally would get so scared I couldn't move nor scream for my parents. So the next show that would come on was Powerpuff Girls, and then it would make me feel brave enough to walk into the living room, run into the living room into the embrace of my parents' arms. So yes, it was always comforting to see that blossoming heart on the screen. And I always felt that their father was a cool guy who really loved them, and that was comforting to see on screen. More of that, please. He also looks like one of my high school teachers writing through film, Mr. Ravello. If you're watching this, you kind of have this vibe. And don't get full of yourself. It's literally just like the black hair. But I feel like he would smoke that thing. So while we're on the topic, Courage the Cowardly Dog is a complex one for me because it was one of my, if not my favorite show. But like I told you, it instilled such a ridiculous amount of fear in me. However, I think a lot of that fear originated from the fact that I resonate with Courage on a profoundly deep level. Not only because of the fact that he reminds me of my beautiful childhood lover dog, Josephine, Angel Girl. That is her name. Don't wear it out. My god, I miss her. She died in 2017 and nothing has ever been the same since. But also because I experienced such a level, and always have in my childhood, a deep, profound sense of paranoia that comes with the fact that I feel like I've often warned people in my life about things, and it's like I speak and I speak and I speak and no one listens, and it just falls on deaf ears until something happens, and then I'm like, didn't I tell you that? And then I never get the credit or the recognition for it. So I love him, but I don't like his enemies, including this one. This one like literally had an episode where he was like a hotel manager, I think, and was running a suite number 666, and this fucking little fox thing reminds me of this thing that I also hate but kind of relate to sometimes, especially on days where I might have drank a little bit too much and have some anxiety. Absolutely did not fuck with this villain either. I feel like I'm gonna get robbed and scammed looking at this. A big fuck no. I feel like this guy made me angry to the point where I was like infuriated and shaking. Like that's the thing, when I was younger I had, and I still do have, such a big issue with like injustice and ethics, and like I would watch this show being like, listen to the damn dog, like oh my god. And this one was also just horrifying. Like, even looking at these things, oh my god, I feel like it's like waking up a part of my psyche that I should have just kept asleep. Absolutely loved No Notes. My Life as a Teenage Robot. Love her. Isn't her name Jenny? And this guy who I'm assuming, I do not remember, but I feel like he was probably like deeply in love with her, I think was kind of a little weird looking, but kind of comforting to see on screen. Similarly to Gordon from the Lizzie McGuire show. Even though I hated Dexter and his voice was literally nails on a chalkboard, yes, I did love it because I think I liked the sister, or was that his girlfriend? I don't remember. And the mom was like comforting to see on TV, which in hindsight is probably because her big fat ass, but something about her I was just like, Oh, I also meant to say I loved Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends because all of them were comforting to look at. Despite the little like palm tree girl, she was definitely anxiety inducing. This big purple thing, nice to look at, looked very warm and comfy. And I think I had a crush on this guy, which we can't even fit him in the photo because I've always loved a tall man and I love a basketball player. Cow and Chicken, I did watch, but it felt inappropriate. I felt like I was doing something dirty, wrong, and extremely perverted. The udders didn't need to be that big, and the expression didn't need to be that like I can feel hot breath coming from this cow looking at me. And this character, which why is there so many like demonic devil themes? Yeah, his tushy was always out, and that's inappropriate to me. Robot Chicken was an absolute fuck no, scared me, didn't like it. Didn't fuck with this guy, reminds me of the little clown thing from Saw. That's like his cousin. And good old Crashbox, that's where we're ending. Felt good to watch, but like did something to the psyche. I didn't like looking at characters like this. Like, how did they depict such specific human characters so grotesquely? However, he provided a level of comfort I don't know I will find anywhere else in this lifetime. I have such a distinct memory of him being in like the ocean or a fish tank or a submarine or something and being like, I'm stuck in this tank, y'all, or something like that. And everyone on Crashbox moved like this. Like, it was, who animated things like this? I have a feeling watching all these things did something bad to our brains, and I hope you enjoyed this. I didn't. I'm disturbed.